TheSmartLocal.com.
Never needed a solid place to stay. We've never had a reason not to play. But now this country with all its empty noise is drowning out our songs, our dreams, our voice.
My name is Teck Ming, National Director of Habitat for Humanity Singapore. I used to be the founding chairman as a volunteer for Habitat for Humanity, and I took on the job full-time as National Director since the tsunami disaster. Project Homework is our program where we clean up the houses of the elderly, poor and the disabled. Based on parliamentary report last year, as we speak, there are 35,000 vulnerable elderly in Singapore out there. So they use the word vulnerable to tell us that these are the folks that would need help. So a lot of these elderly people who are sickly, they are weak. Some have mental issues, dementia, Alzheimer. Some have been abandoned by children, and they live in one-room flats scattered all over the island. And because of their physical condition, they are not able to take care of their own living environment. So at the least, you would have a house that is not well kept. Places that have been you have dirt everywhere, or the toilet situation is not too clean. At the worst, you can have very severe bed bug infestation, hoarding, rotting food or garbage everywhere. And so we believe that we ought not to let the elderly or the disabled live in such a condition. And so we have been organizing teams of volunteers to go to their houses to change their bed, to remove furniture, to fumigate the place, paint, just to do lots of things to make sure that the place is a decent place for the elderly to call home. Well, Parliament reported that the number will increase to 83,000 by the year 2030. So we are hoping that by which time, with our little effort and with the effort of other NGOs and organizations, Singaporeans will be very caring towards the elderly naturally, and that although inevitably some people will be living in terrible condition, there will be ready help for all of them from the volunteers, the government and various agencies. Every single weekend there are teams of volunteers out there cleaning the houses, but the numbers are still in the hundreds. So we think that there are a lot more work that we can do. And we are especially interested in mobilizing the young, and that's why Bear Your Soul is such an important event as well, where families will come together, the adults and the children and all that. We want to advocate, especially among the young, so that young people in Singapore will grow up thinking about helping the elderly, helping the poor. And so we want to expand the work to the schools, the universities, polytechnics, and encourage a lot of young people to come together to serve the elderly. I was visiting a friend who runs a senior activity center somewhere in Red Hill area. And so I asked him, could I take a look around? What is it that you do? And so he brought me into these one-room flats to visit the elderly that supposedly is under his care. And I remember walking into the first house, and it was just the stench of urine and human waste was so strong, because there was an elderly lady lying on the bed. She's bedridden, and family is very poor. So she basically soiled herself, and there were bed bug infestation. You see blood stain of the bed bugs on the wall. And that was how it all started. I felt that we had to do something about it, and that's how Project Homework really was born. And from that time onwards, we were quite determined that we want to make sure that a person like that would receive the help that they should get. And so sometimes it's not just about cleaning the houses, it's also about working with other agencies to make sure that there's aftercare, there's medical care, proper attention given. So that would be one case that I remember very well. I would say that it would seem to me that this situation is common among all societies. So we are talking about people who falls through the cracks of all the welfare safety network that we have. And so advocacy will remain important. This is the reason why BEAR one of the reasons why BEAR was organized, so that when thousands of people gather together, we can share the story to them and show them the pictures, maybe the banners and activities to advocate for the poor, whether it's in Singapore or outside of Singapore. So I think continual education is important, and at the same time, a real-life engagement. One of the key advantages of what Habitat does is that when people get involved with the work we do, they go home, they go back to their schools, their workplace, and they start talking about it, whether they build a house or they clean up a house. And it has been very powerful, because then the message will then spread very much across the island and prayerfully around the world. And so the more builds we have, the more house cleaning we conduct, the more we are able to put a serious dent into the problem. And so I say the answer would be for us to work even harder in spreading the message. Our most prominent partner right now will be Barclays. It's a British bank, and Barclays has been sponsoring us and helping us, especially in the Bay of Seoul, our annual mass walk program. They have been helping us tremendously in almost every aspect of this project, from the conceptualization to PR to advertisement to, of course, sponsoring a lot of the operating costs as well.
Away from dried and shriveled peels from my sunburned skin.
Hi, my name is Mark Stafford. I'm the Global COO for sourcing here at Barclays, and I'm the sponsor here within the organisation and partner up with Habitat for Humanity. Barclays' role in Be Your Soul is event sponsor, but we're a lot more than that. We're a partner with Habitat to bring this event to fruition, and we get involved in all aspects. We help them where we can, we give them ideas, we help resource on the day, provide volunteers, and most importantly get 1,000 Barclays family and friends joining on the day. We saw the original Be Your Soul concept one year and thought we could just help them make it more visible in the local community. So it's grown from the small start to something substantially bigger. So the walk this year, we're following our very successful formula from last year. It's going to be two sizes of walk, 2.5 kilometres for those who've got little feet and can't walk as far as 5 kilometres. We're also going to take advantage of the barrage. So the link is a fantastic walk from Gardens by the Bay that goes across the barrage, over and circles around the rooftop and comes down again and back into Gardens by the Bay. How it's going to be different this year, we're going to have expanded facilities and entertainment on the day, and that includes food options, which is also always important. We're hoping to increase the numbers. Every year we've increased it by double digits, and we're hoping to get in excess of 5,500 people walking this year. And if we can do that, that will allow us to beat last year's target and obviously raise a lot of money for a very good cause. And this year, rather than having a couple of people who have done a lot of the fundraising, as was the case last year, we're looking to put together corporate teams of 4 people that will walk 100 kilometres. We're just ironing out the details at the moment, but it's a great opportunity to put a team together and participate in a bit of physical challenge. It is 100 kilometres. It'll be walking over a Thursday evening, finishing Friday morning, maybe Friday lunchtime. It will take 16 to 20 hours for the teams to finish. And as an incentive, we've got some great support from our sponsors to offer up a prize for the team that raises the most money. That prize is flights up to Hong Kong, accommodation and tickets to attend the Barclays Asia Cup, which is a combination of 3 premiership teams that will be out here in Asia competing in a round Melbourne competition. So if you can put a team together, you can have a great opportunity to raise money, have some fun, have some exercise, and maybe win a trip to Hong Kong.
And the trees and tired lights go rushing on. I'll stop, 'cause the people that pass me by need to go a little slow for a second chance.